Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay there, little technical difficulties, but good morning. Welcome to SVVR 2017. Yes, thank you. It's awesome to have you all here in our press event. This is kicking off our fourth annual three-day conference. We're really excited about how SVVR has grown over the years from our humble little meetup. What SVVR is, a lot of people ask me what SVVR is because we're a little ambiguous, but we are a community-driven industry organization dedicated to accelerating the growth of a healthy, diverse VR ecosystem. So it's kind of a mouthful, but it means we want all approaches, all verticals, all cultures, everybody coming together to share best practices and to make VR great. So we started as a meetup. Actually, Bruce and Nana and I founded SVVR as a meetup back in 2013. And yeah, we threw this little meetup. We thought maybe 5 or 10 people would come. 72 people came to that room.
Yes,
and, at the Computer History Museum. And here we are celebrating our 4th year. We are the largest pure industry VR conference in. Yeah, we're really excited to be here. So I'm going to let Bruce take it away from here.
Thank you. Awesome. Who is this guy? This is Carl Krantz. This is also the co-founder and kind of leading the charge here at SVVR. So that's who he is. All right. I'm Bruce Wooden. I'm with also AltSpace VR, but also co-founder at SVVR, and kind of a pretty face to put on the organization here, essentially. We're really pleased to kind of welcome folks from all over the world here to take part in this event. We have community from all over the world, 100 exhibitors from North America, Europe, Asia, great speakers, great tracks, so I encourage you to kind of check out all of those things and partake in all of them. Over the next few days, you'll be hearing from top names in VR research, engineering, and development, entertainment, and enterprise. You'll have an opportunity to discuss the latest trends that are happening in the VR industry. You'll be able to take a look at some of the exhibits that are here that are just looking at some of the latest innovations that are happening across the industry in multiple verticals, and really about getting a glimpse of where this industry is headed, about the future of VR as a whole, and it's kind of what our aim is to do here. So we'd really like to thank you for joining us, and what we're going to have is a series of short talks from some of these industry leaders that are going to be here giving about 5-minute talks to kind of have an overview of what they're doing here at SVVR and how they've contributed to the industry. So we're going to ask that there's no questions that are part of these talks. We're just going to roll through them and go. So if you want to follow up with those folks or have questions, you want to catch them after the event and ask away to your heart's content. So that's kind of how it's going to go, and we're going to start off with Stephanie Lamas, who's the Vice President of Research and Strategy at Superdata. So we have Stephanie come on up and get set up and get ready to go. Give a warm welcome as she makes her way to the stage. That'll be awesome. All right. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely ready to go. All right.
Thanks. Want to put my coffee down. All right, all set. So thank you everyone so much for having me here and for listening to me drone on for 5 minutes. I promise it'll be fun and interesting, and it'll show you some really great things that I'm about to present in about an hour and a half as well. So as Bruce mentioned, my name is Stephanie Lamas. I work for Superdata Research, and we've been looking at the VR space for about 2.5 years officially. A lot of us are enthusiasts, so we've been looking at it for a lot longer than that. And we're the only company or research company to have a data network where we have data provided by partners in the VR space to give more transparency to the industry. So this helps us gauge what, where the market is, where it's going, and how folks are actually doing. And a lot of the insights that I'll be showing in my presentation and today are from a report that we just put out called The Virtual Consumer. So without further ado, in 2016, this is the number, $1.8 billion. That's how much money consumers contributed to the VR industry, to the VR market. And it's true, a lot of numbers in the beginning of 2016 were a lot bigger than this. Ours wasn't a lot bigger, but it was certainly bigger. That's not to say that there's anything that VR did wrong, right? VR has actually been doing really great, and we have to consider the fact that VR is a brand new medium. I mean, this is the first year that headsets have been consumer-facing, at least viable headsets. Certainly we've had headsets before, but these are the real meat of it, right? And you also have to consider that in that first year, many of those headsets didn't come out until 3, 6, 9 months into the year. So we're talking about $1.5 billion in hardware sales as there was a trickle in of hardware, right? So we were really excited, actually, when we saw PlayStation VR's number, them mentioning that they had sold over 900,000 devices through February of this year. I mean, considering how long this product has been on the market, considering that this was a surprise to them as well, we're starting to see a lot of those surprises come into the play. And the biggest problem isn't that VR isn't holding up to our standards. It's that we are not looking at this from, looking at the forest from the trees, essentially. So if we take a look at major U.S. technology adoption rates in the United States over the last, the last half century, we see a lot of these huge media come into the foray with very slow starts. And the one that has always stuck out to me most, and I feel is, akin to VR in a lot of ways, is color TV. Because color TV represented something that was different from what we already had. So we already had black and white TV. We already could watch television. Why do we need this to be in color? And now we know that it's really important that TV is in color to us now, right? This is in color. The whole world has changed because we can see TV in color. And so in that very beginning, there was a lot of questioning, why do I need this? And right now we're kind of in the same stage, especially because of the, how cost prohibitive some of this hardware really is. The same with color television. It was very expensive in the beginning. So when we look at VR and we look at the growth that we're starting to see in terms of adoption, it's going very much along that path. And so looking at the industry and how we're seeing it grow in the future, how we're starting to see the momentum grow, already in 2017, there's a pretty similar growth pattern that we just saw. And this is in revenue, but it's very much aligned with the adoption. It's very much aligned with how many headsets we can get into consumers' hands and how they're going to spend. That curve is okay. We're okay. That gap of disappointment is very natural, but it just means that we have a lot of going up. And so that's what we're going to be able to expect this year and very much more in the next years moving forward. And this is just VR. This is, I certainly am taking into consideration MR and AR's roles. And there are going to be a lot of places where AR and MR are going to thrive, where VR might not be the right medium. But it doesn't mean that VR doesn't have a very strong place in and of itself. And so I want everyone to feel just a little bit better about 2016. It was a great year for VR. We're here. We are growing as a community, as an industry. We have conferences like this, and there's a reason. Just because there's still some barriers in the beginning, it doesn't mean that monetization won't work itself out. I mean, that's one thing that we're still kind of learning to get through is how are we going to earn money from consumers? How are we going to provide content that they're willing to spend on? That takes time, but we're on our way. So I'll be talking a lot more about this at 11:20 in room 210F. And if you want to also learn more about enterprise applications, I'll be moderating a panel tomorrow at 1 o'clock in 210F as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. We're going to do a switch here. Next up is Rock Nakajima from Noitum. He's a VP and Marketing International Business Development. Noitum, yeah, awesome. Just welcome to the stage. It's great. Wonderful. Let's go ahead and take a second and let Rock get set up here. I'll talk a little bit about what Noitum is doing. So I have some experiences from Noitum. They've been really at the forefront of some of the kind of motion capture things that have been happening in VR. It's been really, really great. So what we have is some interesting things that Rock will be talking about, some of the latest experiences and products they have coming, and it's going to be very, very exciting. So, Rock, ready to go?
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry about that. It's going to be interesting colors on that. I just want to talk a little bit about what we've been doing oh, sorry. I just want to talk a little bit about what we've been doing over at Neudem. We're a motion capture company, and our interest has been in the usage of motion capture with virtual reality. And the evolution of virtual reality right now for us has been in the multi-user, multiplayer arena, especially in theme parks and more enterprise B level projects. And of course, we're a Chinese-based company, so most of our business development right now has been in China, although I'm in charge of international, so we've been pushing this a lot overseas. And we introduced Project Alice about a year ago here at SVVR. And so a year ago, we launched here, and this was SVVR 2016. And at the time, there was no backpacks, or very few backpacks. And in a matter of a year, and this was very interesting what we were just talking about before, a lot of hardware has come on the market. And in a matter of a year, things have changed a great deal. So for example, in a matter of a year, we've introduced, for example, in China, virtual reality bumper cars. So we've installed about three of those experiences in China, which is basically full-size bumper car arenas where people are wearing HMDs, and so you have the full experience. And what's really neat about this is, if you go back to the other one, I can change the arena to be anything you want. So it's kind of interactive, and this is all based on the Project Alice platform. So entertainment. On the business side, working with Volkswagen and actually Buick and several other automotive companies in China, we did an event for the launch of the Tiguan in Shanghai, where we put 104 people in virtual reality and did the launch of the Tiguan import model, and did a huge virtual reality presentation for the first time launch of the 2016 model. And this was the first time it was ever done. I think it's the most we've ever put, the number of people in virtual reality. And this was really not talked a lot outside of China, which is kind of a shame, but it was a very interesting project. And this is kind of what happened. We had the whole car coming apart and everything like that. And we're actually showing this at our booth, so if anybody wants to come and see this, we're in booth 200. We also did, just recently, again, the usage of Project Alice in advertising. We just installed this about 2 weeks ago in Korea, VR center for advertising and development in Busan. So right now what's happening is, I think a lot of the VR experiences are being developed for B2B are much more lucrative than our consumer-oriented experiences. And what we're launching here is adding more options to our Project Alice platform. And we launched at CS this year a consumer glove, which works with the HTC tracker. And the glove is actually independent of the tracking system. And what we're doing here is we're matching it with our Project Alice platform, which allows you now to have multiple users using their hands inside Project Alice. So if you come by our booth, you'll be able to see 4 people using their hands inside Project Alice. So 4 people interacting with their hands inside a space and being able to move freely inside that space. So as a platform developer for VR, we're trying to see whether people whether there's an interest. Well, we believe there's an interest in allowing people to fully immerse themselves in VR, and we're trying to provide them the tools. And what's been really interesting and exciting is that there is a huge interest. We have people from industry, from education, from advertising that are very excited to use these tools. And this is where the growth in our business has been. And this is where we're moving forward for the next year. And we invite all of you guys to come by. And if you want to do a reservation, because we're kind of getting fully booked, you go online to this site, and you can make a reservation, come and do several experiences. We have entertainment experiences, we have educational experiences, and we have, of course, our glove experiences at our booth. Please come by during the show, and if you want to talk to me or any of our staff, come by and come and see us. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Rock. It was fantastic. Next up, we have Alessandro Gasparini, who's Executive Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer at Emervision. So Alessandro's going to come up and get set up. In the meantime, I'd like to ask, who is here for the first time at SVVR conference? Oh, whoa, fantastic. Welcome, welcome. For the rest of you, you might have been wondering what has happened to my hair. I've cut it, okay. But for new people, this is just the way I always look, so relax, it's going to be all right. Awesome. So we're so excited to have you. This is going to be a great kind of celebration of VR. You'll find at SVVR, this is one of the best places to talk to other enthusiasts, to really share not only the passion, but the talent and the expertise is here as well. So it's not just people that are excited about VR, but people that know what they're talking about and have learned quite a bit along the way. So with that, Alessandro, ready to go? Yes, looks good. All right. Pass it over to you.
All right. Hi, everybody. So very quickly, Emervision is maybe an atypical company in terms of being here. We are a technology company, basically the experts in optic design, wide-angle optic design, and image processing. We are actually the only company in the world which address optical design with the perspective of having optical designer looking at how photons go into optics and how they reflect between the different elements, and have image processing engineer looking that on pixels. So whenever an optical designer designs a lens, well, actually what I start looking is what is supposed to do on the pixel. And then when an image processing engineer is going to work on how I'm going to process that image to give it a more natural rendering, actually is looking how the photons coming into the lens. So this combination makes us very unique in a way we have been doing optical design for multiple industries for the past 15 years, over 15 years. And in the aerospace, in the medical field, automotive, consumer, machine vision, defense, security. And the idea has always been wide angle, capturing much more, trying to reproduce what the human eye actually is seeing and be able to transpose it on any type of media of devices. Most recently, with the venue of the VR, what we have been seeing is a great opportunity for the masses to start getting more and more into this immersive experience. Now, one thing that we saw is kind of like the VR industry today facing some kind of a challenge in delivering that vision of user mass adoption. So we see a lot in B2B, we hear people coming and asking us questions about B2B, but what about the end users? What about the 2 billion people in the world which can actually get into this experience, but they're not adopting it? It's not because it's not great. Most of the challenges are more related on awareness, lack of content, which get people engaged into this experience, and the inaccessibilities of the medium to everybody. So this is one of these challenges that we believe will be solved by having and giving into the hands of end users the ability to capture content. And in 2017, we're pretty proud to see there's going to be millions of devices coming out in the market, and those devices going from 360-degree connected accessories, which you may have some companies around here with some during the event showing those devices, attached accessory which connect directly to the smartphones and gives you either a single 180-degree field of view or a 360 by 360 full spherical, or even 3D capture possibilities. But what's most exciting is the launches coming up. Actually, there's going to be some announcement at the end of this, at the end of April. One of the first major brands coming out with the first smartphone integrated 360-degree capture system, and following much more brands. So we are looking at over 4 brands before the end of the year having the first smartphones which will have integrated back-to-back 360-degree imaging. That will allow to have instantaneously capture, streaming, and viewing like people do today using platforms like Facebook or YouTube. And this is what's going to make people figure out and understand and experience what it is to see more than just a fixed picture. Being able to move it left and right, put it into a card box type of device, being able to try to relive that moment that people capture themselves. That will be a big medium to create this awareness and this engagement from the masses. Now, all of these devices, we've been working with a number of leaders to bring these 360-degree devices in the hands of these users. And these, you will see these devices bearing using panamorph optics, which you will see outperform the traditional fisheye, giving consistent 360-degree high-quality images from edge to edge for vivid, lifelike VR. And the image processing technology that allows you, like you see on this example here, to real-time image stabilization and field of view. So basically being able to, today I see a lot of tripods, people recording with tripods, but the reality of end users is they take their phone and they go around taking pictures like that. So that's going to be moving. You cannot have that on a head-mounted display unless you were able to stabilize that image in a way that the person, when the person turns around, he decides where to watch and not the person who's taking the video. So those are some of the technology that's going to be brought to facilitate that. And with our experience, multi-industry experience, well, we are actually helping putting all of this VR and immersive experience beyond just the head-mounted display and the smartphone, but also in vehicles and also in other opportunities like IoT and home devices. So if you have any questions, we are welcoming you to come to our booth. We have a lot of demos. We have a 3D immersive head-mounted display on a laptop, on a screen, and you also have a company which has the first 6K broadcast camera, which you will see it's pretty amazing quality images for live broadcasting of sports events and events. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandro. It's fantastic. Exciting stuff coming up. That's cool. Next up, we have Raul Rubio, the CEO, creative director, and founder at Tequila Works. He's going to come on up while he gets set up. I'm going to go ahead and let him do that. I'll share an amusing anecdote about how SVVR actually started. It was in a coffee shop not too far from here when Carl was in that coffee shop, and I pulled up in a motorcycle that he had at home, and it was true love after that point. So we decided at that point we were so excited about VR, the dev kits that just came out with Oculus DK1, and we were so excited about what the kind of promise of VR and really what we didn't have at the time was a place for everyone to meet and actually share what was happening. So thus SVVR, the meetup was born, and it started at the Computer History Museum, and it went on from there. So now you know. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right, take it away.
Well, thank you, Bruce. Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm Raul from Tequila Works, creators of Rhyme, and today we are announcing the Invisible Hours, which is our take on immersive virtual reality. The inspirations for the Invisible Hours are classics like Agatha Christie's Then They Were None, or thrillers like The Prestige, the real rivalry of Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, and, the immersive theater experience, when instead of having a bunch of people watching actors on stage, you go to a warehouse and, all the stories are happening around you and you can decide where, for example, who are you going to follow, and that defines your experience. That was critical for us because for us, virtual reality was an opportunity to expand the format of narrative. So instead of trying to do linear narrative like in a movie or interactive narrative that adapts to your actions like in a game, we took inspiration in Alfred Hitchcock's The Rear Window. Like James Stewart, we want you to feel like a silent and invisible witness, but at the same time, you are the only one who can see all the truth because your perspective is defining that truth, right? In this case, we have 8 different stories that are totally interconnected. So that means 8 hours of narrative. And depending on the truth that you are witnessing, you are going to create even the genre of the story. So it could be a thriller, could be sci-fi, could be horror, could be comedy, or a murder mystery. The story, we have Nikola Tesla inviting a group of strangers, no relationship between them, to an island. And this is very then they were known. None of them are by free will here. They are being blackmailed by Nikola Tesla. And when they arrive, Nikola Tesla is dead, which is an anachronism and is a mystery. But more importantly, all of them are suspicious of the murder. So the mystery is that with Tesla, and it's up to the audience to figure out not only who the murderer is, but also other stories that at first may not be so obvious. Okay, so let me show you a trailer for The Invisible Hours.
Why would one of us want to murder Nikola Tesla? The man was a genius.
I have my suspicions. And I will catch this killer.
I'm Thomas Edison. When your name is up in lights, those are my lights.
If you don't give me what I want, I'll tell everyone the truth about you.
Why would Tesla pay to have a blind assistant?
To keep his secret safe from prying eyes.
She's the most famous stage actress in the world. So she lies for a living.
I'm giving him what he wants most. Another dead son.
Why did you run?
Because I'm a murderer.
Now hear this, all of you! I know you think I'm a fool.
No!
But I promise you, this will not go unpunished. This will not go unpunished! Stop! If I were to watch you, and you didn't know I was there, what would I see?
You'd see the truth. Of course.
Thank you. Thank you so much. If you have any question, we are making a presentation this afternoon, so please join us. And, well, thanks again. Enjoy SVVR.
All right, thank you, Raul. That was intense. When you get to the point you punch a blind man, that's some serious stuff. Damn. All right, excellent. We're going to get Maureen Fan up next, CEO and co-founder of Baobab, doing some animation. So he's going to set up and talk about that a little bit, which is fantastic. Would like to take this opportunity to let you all know that on the expo floor we have kind of a new thing going on with kind of core areas of international communities that are happening. We have community zones for Japan, the Mobile Game Association in Korea, and VR Core in China. So if you're especially interested in international industries in VR, then the expo floor is going to be the place to learn more. And Maureen, ready?
Yeah.
All right,
Thank
pass
you,
over to
Bruce.
you. Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Maureen. I'm CEO, co-founder of Baobab Studios, a VR animation studio. And how many of you have seen this bunny before, or have seen Invasion? Yes. World domination. No. So the mission of our company is to inspire you to dream, and we do that by taking you to different worlds, immersing you in that world, and bringing out your sense of wonder. So many of you have probably already seen Invasion, but that was our first piece. And today I'm also going to show you a trailer that's never been seen before of the new piece that we're premiering at Tribeca Film Festival in April. But in Invasion, it was the first time we innovated making you an actual character. So you are a little bunny, and if you look down, you have a little furry bunny body. If you squat, it gets super fat, like it would in real life, if you have fat. And then but we also innovated how to direct the viewer's eyes by using the bunny to teach you where to look, and that was starring Ethan Hawke, very handsome. And then our second sequel to that, the Invasion series, was called Asteroids. So it was again with Mac and Cheese, the two alien characters from Invasion, and this time you follow them into outer space. And that one we premiered at Sundance Film Festival, starring Elizabeth Banks. And in that one, we also made you a character, but we allowed you to also interact with the other characters and actually have impact on how those other characters felt and cared about you and whether or not they succeeded or not. So finally giving you the agency of games and the empathy of films to actually act on behalf of your empathy for them. And so I want to show you our third piece, which we're premiering at Tribeca Film Festival. Before that, very quickly, quick background on our company. So I'm Maureen, and my background is mostly in gaming, but some film as well. Most recently, I was vice president of games at Zynga for the last 6 years, right from when they started, with a crazy ride. And I was vice president of games looking over the Farmville franchise. Before that at Pixar on Toy Story 3, and also in the production team on The Dam Keeper, which was nominated for an Oscar a year ago. And my co-founder, Eric Darnell, amazing. He directed Ants, DreamWorks' first ever full-length animated film, and also wrote and directed all 4 of the Madagascar films, netting over $2.5 billion in the box office. And then also Larry Cutler, who's speaking tomorrow after the keynote. You all have to go listen to him speak. He's our CTO, and he graduated from Stanford with me with his master's in VR. But this was in the 90s, so he's really smart and realized it was way too early. And went to Pixar instead, where he was a technical director on Toy Story 2 and Monsters. Then went on to DreamWorks to be global head of character technology across all DreamWorks films, and is also a judge for the Oscar Technical Achievement Awards. And my favorite slide is our cast of advisors. So we have the co-founder of Pixar, the co-founder of PDI DreamWorks Animation, the president of DreamWorks, co-founder of Twitch, and also my favorite, Glenn Keane, who is the animator for Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Tarzan, all your favorite Disney classics. And the reason why they're interested in partnering with us is specifically because they feel that VR has the same energy as CG did back in the day, when no one knew what they were doing, and it was a merging of art and technology together, and they want to pass it on to the next generation. So we're very honored that they decided to help us out. Okay, so I'm going to show you this quick trailer, never been seen before for Tribeca.
We see virtual reality as a new medium for telling stories and creating great cinematic experiences that are character-driven. It allows people to be taken to places and to worlds that otherwise wouldn't exist.
Rainbow Crow is a Native American legend from the Lenape tribe. Now, we at Baobab are retelling this ancient story of selflessness and service, and we're telling it in a brand new way in VR.
Long ago, in a time before humans walked the face of the earth, the world was always sunny and warm, and the forest animals lived happily and without worry. But then one day the snow came. The animals were no longer happy, and they began to worry that they would freeze to death in this increasingly frigid world. What they needed was a hero. What they needed was Rainbow Crow.
So that's a trailer for Rainbow Crow, and just to give you a little brief update about Rainbow Crow, we will be announcing the talent soon, very talented talent, but also I'm really proud of this because we push the boundaries of technology to be able to create a different art style that has never been used before in VR. And also it's a story with themes about self-sacrifice in a world of darkness, how do you bring light to it, and also about self-acceptance. And if you want to learn more, you can email me. My contact information is Maureen at Baobab VR or at Baobab Studios. And we're also doing a talk tomorrow, not about Rainbow Crow, about our processes, especially technical, but just contact me if you'd like to learn more about Rainbow Crow. Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen. Next up, we have Ronnie Tobler from Kenzen Studios, the CEO. He's going to come up. Rob can go ahead and get set up. Do want to kind of let everyone know that the PR team back there is going to make a press kit available. That'll have a lot of this information here for you as well. So just to let you know, it's, that press kit will be available for you. You have the chance to get that info so you don't miss anything. That's great. And I will tell you a little about Baobab while you get set up here. The first time I felt like a character in a VR story wasn't Baobab when I looked at the rabbit and I looked back and I looked at the rabbit and like, oh my God. So it's really, really great feeling. It's so proud of what you guys are doing. All right, ready to go?
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm Ronnie Tobler, CEO of Kenzen Studios. We are a content creation studio based in the beautiful Geneva in Switzerland. And we employ around about 40 plus professionals, most of them focused on VR. We started very early on with virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality research and development, because we always combine creative forces with the most advanced technology that is available. And this is why, after around about 2 years of research and development, today at SVVR we announced Kenzen Arena. Kenzen Arena is our virtual reality franchise system that will enable multiplayer games in a physical location. We make it the most advanced and most social experience on the market, and we partnered up with Neutom and HTC to make it a reality. For Neutom games, we can interact with objects, and for HTC, we use the platform more for the esports game segment, making this the first VR arcade that is multi-platform from the start. We have optical and inertial sensors to have a very good motion tracking, and we also use from the start 2 flying machines or 2 motion simulators that can emulate any vehicle that we can use inside the game. We also add wind and scent to enhance the experience to a new level, and we make this all possible on 200 square meters. That's around about 2,150 square feet. Now, coming out of Switzerland, we have money in our DNA. We have the highest real estate prices, and we have the highest salaries in Switzerland. So to make something like that work, you have to be very efficient. And this is why we designed Kenzen Arena to be profitable from the start in Switzerland, because the first Kenzen Arena will also launch in Switzerland. This means high throughput, so we want to make it affordable for the customers. It means a low footprint in terms of size, optimized to make it available in crowded city centers and shopping malls with a high square foot price, and standardized in terms of the size for the playground, for the waiting area, and the operations facility. We include in our multiplayer games 12 players, making it the most social experience possible, where you can battle or cooperate with friends and family. We make it plug and play, easy to operate, so that it can play with a push of a button, and we designed it in a way, with a conservative Swiss calculation, to have an ROI on the initial spend of 2.5 years. Now, the best system is nothing without the games, and this is where we actually shine. We developed Kenzen Arena to make our games come to reality. The first one is the blockbuster, is the Lost Pit VR. It's a first-person shooter from the ground up developed for VR, where you battle against each other. Enigmatic is an escape room scenario where you have to cooperate together to get out of the escape room. And the 2 other games are single-player experiences targeted at kids that experience VR for the first time before you take them inside, for example, the escape room. We deliver everything out of one hand, minor releases every 6 months, major releases of the games every 12 months. One highlight that we will offer is competition between multiple Kenzan arenas. The first game that will enable that will be the Lost Pit, where we can let Kenzan arenas worldwide battle against each other. But now I want to stop talking and show you, and this is actually a SVVR exclusive, the first time, our teaser for the Lost Pit. You like it? We are really very proud of this game. Now, to close off, call to action. You can meet us at our booth, and you can actually experience all the 4 games I'm talking about. Enigmatic, the escape room game, will be at the Neutom booth. The other 3 games you can experience at our booth, which is just next to Neutom. To close off, the first Kenzan Arena will launch this summer in Zurich, and we'll announce the location soon after SVVR. Thank you very much.
Excellent. 4 minutes and 58 seconds. That's Swiss precision. It's fantastic. So Swiss. Very good. Our last just machine gun speaker here is my friend and colleague, Gavin Wilhite. He's founder, director, engineering at AltSpace VR. So we got to get Gavin to come up here. All right. Thank you. Yes. Awesome. As he gets set up, I'll tell you, AltSpace essentially started in a car ride to Davis to see Doc Ock, where we debated and talked a lot in the back of Paul's car. It was Paul's 6 Sense. So spent a car ride with this guy, and next thing you know, we're starting a company. So it's pretty sweet. Fantastic. Ready to go? All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So once again, reminder, we'll have actually Stephanie's talk actually after a little bit after this is over, but you'll have a little time to go to Expo floor. Make sure to catch that. That's very cool. And press kits from the PR folks that are in the back. Make sure you don't miss those. All right. Awesome. Let's get started.
All right. Cool. So yeah, I'm Gavin Wilhite, founder and director of engineering of AltSpace VR, and I'm here to talk to you guys today about native components, which is a new way to construct the VR web. So real fast, AltSpace VR is a social VR platform. Anybody around the world can put a headset on. They can be there with other people. They can attend live comedy shows. They can go to events with celebrities. They can do meetings. We use this for our own company meetings. And they can also do activities where they're interacting with live VR web applications. And that's what I'll be telling you guys a little bit about today. So real fast, we're on a bunch of different platforms. So all the headsets you see up on there, all the different operating systems. So everything that I'm showing you in here is always running on a mobile phone. So it'll work on a Gear VR or a Daydream as well. It also works across all these different devices, which is really important because when developers are building these web applications, we want to make sure that they don't have to care about exactly which device they're using. We can make these really nice abstraction layers. Cool. So about 3 years ago, we were trying to figure out how we can get things for people to do inside of social virtual reality. And so we basically built a VR web browser. And when we think about a VR web browser, we think about a traditional browser having sort of the main application and then a browser engine. So if you imagine Chrome, it has sort of the Chrome menu, the URL bar, all that kind of stuff is the main application. And then everything you see inside the frame is the browser engine. For a VR browser, we add one more thing, which is a game engine, because anybody who's tried to build VR content knows that you really want to have access to all the features that games have been developing for the last 20 or 30 years. And so we built this. We built an SDK to make it really easy to use. So with this SDK, you can make these web applications and games that live on the web. The important thing about that is that you host them at any URL. There's no gatekeepers. This is one of the only places that I know of where you can have VR web content where a store owner is not telling you what you can and cannot make. This is great because when you're in Altspace, you automatically have access to VoIP. You don't have to make your own avatars or environments. It's all sort of taken care of for you. Okay. So this is one of our most popular games, Holograms Against Humanity. You guys may be familiar with Cards Against Humanity. This is the virtual reality version. It is a ton of fun. We had 5,000 games of this played last month. It's really great because people laugh a lot. They make new friends. So this is all built on the web, and you can sort of see people playing it over there. So this is great. We have dozens and dozens of games and applications that people are making and playing all the time. But it's still not the easiest to make these things. You have to be a pretty good programmer. And it's not always the easiest to have the best performance. And so what we wanted reusable building blocks for making the VR web. And one way to think about this is, we don't often think about it this way, but on the web, you have like an image tag, or you have like a text area where you can type. And these are really these native elements that the browser is providing for you, and they were necessary for making the 2D web happen. And so the question is, what are these equivalents for the 3D web, or for the VR web? So our answer is A-frame native components. Yay. So A-frame is fantastic. So it's this framework that was built by Mozilla, and it uses this game object model, this entity component system that should be familiar to many game developers. Really makes making modular code very easy, and it runs on top of 3JS, which we already had support for, so it's great. So native components are just like regular A-frame components, except they're implemented by the browser, which means that now your web pages can directly access game engine features, and they can also use platform infrastructure. So for us, that looks like piggybacking on top of our existing networking traffic for synchronizing avatar parts, for example. So these are the native components that we've had in beta. Today we're finally releasing them out of beta, but it allows you to do really cool things like be able to create super crisp text in VR, which is often actually really hard to do. You can make spatialized audio, all these kind of things straight from a web page. This is an example app that I built with this like in a day. So it's a nice little arcade game. You can see everybody sort of crowding around here on a bunch of different platforms. And a couple things to point out here is this text is really crisp. You can get up super close to it, always stays perfect. This is like 100 lines of HTML and JavaScript, and the fire effects and these sorts of things are being triggered natively as well. This I'm quite proud of. So we're on the desktop platforms, we're on the mobile platforms. Now we're in print. So with the SDK, I made our poster over at our booth. So if you come by, I can show you all the code for the poster. And it actually ended up being really awesome because it's doing graphic design in a text editor in 3D. And the sign distance field text that we were using for the native components actually is great for print because we just printed out this 12K super resolution screenshot, and then the text is really crisp when you get up close to the poster. So it's pretty fun. We also have some custom Cards Against Humanity cards you guys are more than welcome to pick up at the booth. Today we're also announcing 2 brand new components. So the first one is native browsers. This one is very exciting. So if you're familiar with an A-frame element, it basically allows you to embed a web page inside of another web page. So we can now do this in VR as well. So one of the places where this is really useful is people will have these events where they create these really awesome custom environments, but they want to have like a Holograms Against Humanity game going over in one corner and a like YouTube jukebox going over in the other corner. So now they can finally do this in VR. We're also announcing native portals. So this allows you to make these portals inside of VR, which allows you to start connecting spaces together and really making this connected web of spaces in VR. Cool, yeah. So I'm excited to build the future of the web together. My name is Gavin Wilhite. Come check us out.
I love that guy. All right. Very good. We're just about at the end. We're just going to have a few closing words from Carl, and take it away, my friend.
All right. I'm excited about that because SVVR loves doing events in VR, and so we've been doing events in Altspace, and yeah, excited about that. Awesome. So we actually, I want to thank you all for coming, and we actually have one announcement from SVVR as well. So we've always been about building bridges between the different verticals and the different communities and bringing together the gaming world and cinematic VR people and enterprise and out of home and sharing ideas there. And that's been really valuable. But we've also learned that building bridges between communities across the world is really valuable. So I'm announcing our expansion into Asia. So SVVR is expanding into Asia. We have two initiatives. We have SVVR Korea and SVVR Japan. So with SVVR Korea, for both of these initiatives, we're partnering with folks on the ground who are already building communities and leading the industries there. We're not going to go in and tell people how to do it. There are people there that, there are people there that know exactly what they're doing, and they're already doing this stuff. So we're partnering with some really awesome people. So for SVVR Korea, we're partnering with Sung-Hun Lee, who is, I believe the light is right here, Sung-Hun Lee. So he is the VR Content Forum Chairperson for the Korean Mobile Game Association. In Korea, he's a big deal. And here, he's a big deal. He's awesome. And we are planning our first SVVR Korea inaugural event in fall to coincide with G-Star, which is one of the world's largest gaming expositions. So keep your eyes open for that. We're really excited to be doing that. And thank you. And SVVR Japan. So for SVVR Japan, we are partnering with Takashi Jonah, who is also here. Takashi Jonah, right here. Takashi Jonah has been organizing VR community events for at least 4 years. He's done events in 7 cities, hackathons, and the rest. And for SVVR Japan, we are starting right away with a monthly format. So Jonah-san will be leading this off, and we're really excited about that. So yeah, SVVR Asia, we are expanding everywhere into VR across the world. Thank you all for coming, and please enjoy the rest of the show. This is a great time to hit the expo floor, as the expo floor right now is only open to VIP and press, so the lines will be shorter for all the amazing demos you want to try. Thank you very much. Enjoy.